the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers.
I'm Brian Waddingham, Executive Director with the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers.
What is the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers?
So the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, we were started in 2004 by farmers for farmers with the sole purpose of improving Iowa's livestock and poultry industry. We want to see it grow responsibly and successfully, and we really do that through 4 key services: siting new barns and feedlots, interpreting rules and regulations, enhancing neighbor relations, and then finally implementing best management practices such as planting trees around new livestock barns and feedlots. So the Iowa Cattlemen's Association was one of the original 4 farm and commodity organizations that came together to start the coalition. That was back in 2004. Since that time, we've picked up another 5 farm and commodity groups, but the Cattlemen were one of the original 4, and they did that, I believe, because they really saw a need, maybe not at that time, but they saw what Iowa pork industry was going through at that time, and so jumped on early to try to get ahead of any possible issues that would arise, revolving around water quality specifically. Well, I think it's a really good partnership that we have with the Iowa Cattlemen's Association, because we know that livestock and poultry industries are being scrutinized pretty hard today by different groups out there. So having a resource like the coalition that can go out and whether you're a beginning livestock farmer wanting to put up your first cattle barn, or you're an existing farmer looking to grow, we can come out, interpret the rules and regulations, how they impact your farm directly, find the best site for that building. If we need to work with your neighbors and maybe improve relationships, we can do that as well. But that membership dollar that those producers send into you, that's what we're using. So if you ever want to see a direct result of what those membership dues are used for, the coalition, in my opinion, is a prime example.
Cattle calls.
So as far as the calls we receive related to cattle, we get a lot about siting new barns. We get a lot of calls about growing existing farms and adding, maybe open lots, maybe confinement barns, even calving barns. But then more recently, we've been out on cattle farms a lot doing pre and post DNR inspection assessments. And even more recently, EPA has been in the state, so we have been out on several post-EPA inspection assessments. So what we do on those, if it's a pre-inspection assessment, we can kind of come out, walk around the farm with the cattlemen and explain to them what DNR or EPA would be looking for, maybe what they need to improve upon or change before an inspection happens. If it's on a post-inspection assessment, kind of what we're doing there is we're kind of walking them through the inspection report of what DNR or EPA found and giving them guidance on ways to fix those issues so they are in compliance the next time a regulatory agency comes out to do an inspection. I think part of the reason we're seeing an uptick in cattle calls, and this has been going on for probably the last 5 years, at least, right after COVID, it really took off. There's a lot of opportunities in the cattle industry right now. Whether it's cow-calf, backgrounding, we're working with a lot of dairies to put up, beef cross dairy calf barns, which that all ultimately fits into the beef picture. But I think just with those kinds of calls and the opportunities that are there, more and more people are deciding to utilize our services. And it is getting harder to site some of these barns and feedlots based on who your neighbors are. Separation distance requirements have kind of shrunk up a little bit since the new rules came out in 2024. So I think, it also gives cattlemen a peace of mind that their farm would pass an inspection. They have done everything right. And it hopefully will set them up for the future if they want to grow, maybe bring a son or daughter back to the farm as well.
Tips for inspections.
So if you get notified that you will be going through an inspection with DNR or EPA, a couple things that I would recommend is having a written biosecurity plan. It needs to be detailed out. So basically it would say, no one is allowed on my farm within 24, 48, or 72 hours of being on another farm. You should also make sure that there is a third party present during the inspection that can walk around with you. I would also advise that third party to take notes and also take photos of whatever the inspector takes photos of. And then also don't ever let the inspector wander around your farm without you present. Stay with them. And again, just answer their questions. I would say yes, no question or answers. Yes, no answers would be the best way to do that. But again, and then finally, if they do request that, it's 5 o'clock on a Tuesday night and they say, hey, we're going to come inspect you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, be there. It is your right to say, no, tomorrow won't work because maybe you're selling cattle, maybe you're doing some field work. But as long as you get that rescheduled in a few days, you should be fine. But you do have rights. And if you've got questions about the full list of your rights, you can always contact the coalition and we'd be glad to fill you in on what those rights are.
CSIF in action.
Yeah, so one comes to mind. It was a cattleman in northeast Iowa. Had an issue with DNR a few years back. DNR said he could no longer raise cattle there until changes were made. So he let about 8 years go by, and then kind of now with the dynamics of the cattle industry, he thought it would be a good time to get re-involved in the cattle industry. So he had me come out. I read through the inspection report that DNR left with him and determined that with a few subtle changes, a little, very minimal changes, he could have cattle on that farm again. So made a couple trips up to northeast Iowa at different times. We, did a well separation distance waiver. We had to resubmit in writing to DNR what changes were made, along with photos of the improvements, and did all that, packaged it all up, delivered it to the DNR field office, and he received a letter back in about 3 weeks that said, congratulations, all of your issues have been resolved, and you are now free to put cattle back on that property. So personally, that was a big win for me, as well as the cattleman to realize his dream again to have cattle on that farm, which I think he's the 4th generation on that farm. So it was a big deal for him to get cattle back on there.
CSIF's programs.
Yeah, so in addition to working directly with livestock farmers to site new barns and feedlots and interpret the rules and regs, we also have several other programs. One of those is our Good Farm Neighbor Award program. That program, again, has been around since the coalition was founded in 2004. So far, we have recognized 207 farm families with that prestigious award, and right at half have been cattle farmers. So it's just a great way to showcase the wonderful things that are going on all across livestock farms in Iowa. Maybe it doesn't always make the news, but this is just a great way for us to highlight that. And if you know someone who's active in their community, whether it's local boards, county boards, state boards, national boards, good caretakers of their land and livestock, you can simply go to our website and get them nominated. And we would love to come out with the big show, our Secretary of Agriculture, Mike Nag, and you can invite as many of your friends, family, and neighbors as you'd like to just really, showcase what it is that you do that makes you special. Another program that we have is the Green Farmstead Partner Program. That program was started in 2009 as a way to improve the environmental aspects of farmsteads today. So this program, we work with 25 nursery professionals around the state to plant windbreaks around cattle barns, open feedlots, just anything that could improve aesthetics, help reduce odor, control dust, help block the wind, provide shade, reduce energy costs. So windbreaks, we've seen a pretty good uptick on the number of cattlemen that are adding those to the farm as well. And to date, we've added or planted about 82,000 trees and shrubs on livestock farms. And I would say cattlemen are probably right behind pork producers as far as who's stepping up to plant trees on their farms today. So just a great program, and trees do such a wonderful job as acting as a good neighbor enhancer. So trees, that old saying, if you can't see it, you can't smell it, that really applies today. So that's another program we offer. And then finally, our newest program is Building Your Livestock Legacy program, a geared kind of a two-prong approach. One is to help those beginning farmers that don't have the resources, the financial things that they need to get started in livestock production. So we can kind of connect some dots there. And then the second component of that program is those established farmers that don't have heirs that want to come back to farm. So we're trying to, play matchmaker and find young people that are willing to work into a family operation, knowing that someday they will get the keys to the farm, but that may take several years. Depending on the arrangement that you make with the established farmer. But that program has gone over extremely well. We have a little over 225 participants right now from all across the state. Cattle are the number one reason why people are looking into that program. But also we are seeing a really good support of all species, from hogs and dairy and poultry and turkey, egg production, goats, sheep, and even fish and shrimp. So it's just been a really great program, and one worth checking out in my opinion, because it's got a lot of really good resources that both beginning farmers and established farmers can use to track down cost share, low interest loan programs, how to do a balance sheet, how to figure break evens, cash flows, and so on. So definitely something worth looking into. Again, all of that's available on our website, which is supportfarmers.com.
How can you use CSIF?
Yeah, so if you're a cattleman wanting to get more involved with the coalition, the best thing to do, you can always find us, our website, supportfarmers.com. If you would like to nominate a neighbor or an acquaintance that you have, maybe they sit on the same county cattlemen's board as you do, again, go to our website and do that. If you're interested in a windbreak, or if you've got questions on whether your farm would pass an inspection, or maybe you've got questions about bringing a son or daughter back into the operation, give the coalition a call. We can help you work through all of that. And the best thing about our services is it's all free and confidential due to the 9 farm and commodity groups that support the coalition. So if any cattlemen out there have questions about how to get a hold of the coalition, the best way is to call us direct, 800-932-2436. Or if you want to find out about all of the programs that we have to offer, you can always visit us online at supportfarmers.com.